What's up everyone? Welcome to another video. In this video, I will test and review the LIONSCOOL seated leg extension and laying leg curl machine. Version 4.0. Now come with me. I previously made a full review video for the version 2.0. It's a good machine, but it had some issues. LIONSCOOL contacted me and said their new version 4.0 fixes all of those issues and also has some additional upgrades. They sent it to me for free to test and review, so let's compare them and check it out. During normal circumstances, I keep the machine here in my home gym, but I don't have enough room to review both of these machines side by side in here, so we'll be pushing into this room. I know it's kind of a goofy room and not ideal, but it's what I've got. As a general overview, the seat is on a decline, so you can really sink in there and get that quad stretch. And the back is adjustable with multiple positions to dial it in perfect for you. To switch over to laying leg curls, just pull a spring release pin and move the leg pad up. And pull a spring release pin and lay the seat down. Now the seat is on an incline and the back is on a decline, with the transition right here. That's to fit the contour of your hips when you lay on the pad. So that's the seated and laying positions, which are both designed excellent for ergonomics. On the other side of the machine, the weight plates are loaded here on this horn. The pivot for the arm is here, so the weight arm will move like this. The cable attaches to the arm here. It goes over this pulley and wraps around this cam during use. And here it is during use. This arrangement provides constant resistance to the leg pad through the whole range of motion. And that covers the general overview. Now let's get into the details. I will cover the upgrades and improvements from the version 2.0, and although it's an excellent machine, it's not yet a perfect machine, and I will point out what I've experienced with using it. Since we left off at the cable mechanism, let's continue here. During use, this cable wraps around this round cam, and there's a transition point here where it wraps around onto the round face. Moving to the version 2.0, this transition point has a ridge, which digs into the cable sheath. It's not horrible, but it's something I pointed out in the previous video. And moving back to the version 4.0, that transition is smooth. And the cable sheath is all good with no wear or damage. And that is a version 4.0 improvement. And next down the line, the cable goes over this pulley. On the version 2.0, this pulley is plastic. And the support structure is the rectangle tube with a little piece of plate for a gusset. On the 4.0, there's an upgraded aluminum pulley, and the support structure has a rectangle tube instead of that little plate gusset. The aluminum pulley is more smooth and quiet, and the strength of the gusset is far superior. That's definitely an upgrade. Continuing through the mechanism, let's look at the cable connection, the weight holder arm, and the weight plate horn. On the version 2.0, the weight plate arm is in line with the frame, and the cable is offset and connects to the arm with a standoff. On the version 4.0 and the 3.0, the arm is offset from the frame, and the cable is in line with the center of the arm. This is achieved by offsetting the arm with a standoff. For my day job, I work full-time as a mechanical engineer and design complex machines for a living. And between these two machines, the version 4.0 arm arrangement is superior for strength and stability. Now let's move on to the weight plate horn. On the version 2, it's cantilevered on one side. On the version 4, it's centered on the weight plate arm. I completely understand why they did this, to distribute the load and keep it centered on the arm. But there's a few issues. First, the version 2 had a rubber bushing on the horn. It protected the weight plates, and with the weight plate loaded, the plate didn't come close to hitting the arm. On the version 4, there's no rubber bushings. The weight plates seat right up against the arm and bang around and make a bunch of noise during use. And here's where the plate is wearing into the arm. Also, on the version 2, you needed a collar, which was not included. Otherwise, without it, the plate would work itself off of the horn and fall off during use. Back at the version 4, now you need two collars, which are still not included. Otherwise, of course, plates can work themselves off of the horn without collars. I decided to stop before it fell off this time. So, plan on getting some type of rubber bushings and some collars. And the last thing I want to point out about the horn is the proximity to the handle. When using the machine for laying leg curls, in my personal experience, the horn is very close to my arm. There's only about 1 inch of clearance. If I flare my arm out, it hits my arm. I make sure to keep my arms tucked in. Maybe it's not an issue for others, but it's unnecessarily close for my liking. I'm personally going to cut it shorter. So, between the version 2 and the version 4, I find everything about the version 2 more user-friendly at this time, but these are simple adjustments. The version 4 just needs rubber bushings and a shorter horn, and it'll be good to go. Next, let's continue around the machine and flip these seats up and talk about handles. On the version 2, the seat handles face forward and they're right here. And on the version 4, they're flipped and face backwards, and they're back here. And from another angle, here they are forward on the version 2, and flipped to face backwards on the version 4. I used the version 2 for several months, and the handles seemed okay. I didn't think anything about them. But now that I've used the version 4, they feel like a reach, and not a natural position. And here's the new position on the version 4. Feeling the difference side by side, this feels a lot more comfortable and natural, and it's a good upgrade. And another difference you may notice in this side by side is that the version 4 is lower. The frame has minimal ground clearance, and the feet are caps on the end of the tubes. On the version 2, there's a couple inches of ground clearance, and the feet are welded angled tubes with plates for feet, with a rubber cover. So what does this mean for you? Probably nothing. It's a much more efficient design and manufacturing process. It's been nice for filming this video because I'm moving these around a lot, and the high clearance frame does not crush my toes when I set it on the ground, but that's not typical. A practical benefit of the higher ground clearance frame is it's easier to sweep, vacuum, and mop under, and I do indeed clean the floor in my home gym. But I think I still give the point to the version 4 for better manufacturing design, considering the cost to benefit ratio for a piece of home gym equipment. Circling back to adjusting the seat between seated and laying, it's super easy. Just pull the pin and move it. The pin locks in this hole when it's seated and this hole when it's laying. I did notice on the version 4 that the knob rubs on the back of the pad when it's laying, and there is a little bit of wear on the back of the pad. Checking the version 2, the knob rubs on the back of the pad here as well. I never noticed it before, and the wear is minimal and not something I'm concerned with, but I'm checking every little detail in this review video, so I'm pointing it out. And now we've reached the main event, which I've been saving for last, the leg pad, arm, and cam mechanism. This is where the version 2 had the most severe issues, to the point where I tried cutting things up to improve them, and where the version 4 has done an amazing job to fix them. On the old versions, with the leg pad all the way down, it wasn't enough to get a full range of motion on the seated leg extensions. My legs can go all the way back here for a full stretch. The solution was to flip the leg pad so it's back here, which requires removing the bolt, removing the leg pad assembly, flipping it, and reinstalling it. And reinstalling the bolt. And this works great and allows full range of motion. However, when changing it over for laying leg curls, now the range of motion is limited again. I can't contract all the way to my behind, which requires flipping the leg pad back to the other side. It's not practical to keep flipping this pad with tools between leg extensions and laying leg curls. In my previous version 2.0 review video, I discussed a modification to use a removable pin, which I will still make a video for everyone with these older versions. But let me introduce you to the version 4.0, which has a tool-free quick change with a pin. Remove the safety hitch pin, then remove the locking pin, rotate the leg roller, reinstall the locking pin, and reinstall the hitch pin. Done! Easy! That's a big improvement for the version 4.0, but it only gets better. On the version 4.0, the cam has 9 adjustment slots for the arm, which is an increase from 7 slots on the older versions. With this extra adjustment, I almost don't even need to flip the roller for seated leg extensions. It's almost enough as is. Not quite, but almost enough. And on my version 2.0, I have to give it a little help to get the pin into the lowest slot. That's not a problem at all on the version 4.0, it goes in with no issues, and there's room to over travel and come back. Back to the foot pad, I noticed the pad is centered with the seat on the version 2.0, but not on the 4.0. This edges even with the seat, which is fine, because your foot's not going to be outside of the pad. Having additional leg pad beyond the seat is pointless. And from this view, I can see the seat pad is tilted down on this side. I'm assuming this is not typical. My version 2.0 is not like this. I'll pull the seat pad off later and see what needs to be straightened out. We're pretty much at the end now, but I want to point out a huge design improvement that as a mechanical engineer, I was very happy to see. Let's look at a ball bearing. There's an outer circle called the outer race, and an inner circle called the inner race. And in between, under the seal, are balls that roll, and they are packed with grease. This allows the outer and inner races to rotate independently with minimal resistance. You can press the outer race into a fixed housing, and the inner race can rotate freely. Or you can press the inner race onto a fixed shaft, and the outer race can rotate freely. On this version 2.0, all of the bearings were used incorrectly. There's just a big washer that covers the whole side of the bearing, pinching the inner race and the outer race. It's the same thing on this arm pivot. Let me remove it real quick to show you. There's a bearing pressed into both sides, and a full-size washer that contacts the outer race and the inner race, not allowing them to freely rotate independently. Looking at the washer, you can see where they're fighting each other and wearing into it. Additionally, these bearings aren't even constrained. There's a lot of slop in here, and the bearings could walk out of the housing. Everything about these bearings bothered me when I assembled the version 2.0, and I planned to circle back and install appropriate washers and spacers of my own everywhere, but I held off because I want it in its original state for these review videos. Now, say hello to the version 4.0. I was thrilled to see that the bearing installations were redesigned correctly as I assembled this machine. Starting with the foot roller outside bearing, the outer race is only in the housing, and the shaft washer is only in contact with the inner race, allowing them to freely independently rotate for smooth operation. And moving to the outside bearing, it's the same. The outer race is pressed into the housing, the inner race is held down by the shaft washer, with free rotation. Weight plate lever arm outer bearing, same. And inner bearing, same. Everything is perfect. And the grand finale is the front roller arm. First, there are correct precision thickness spacers, which lock everything in place, no flopping around. And removing the arm to take a closer look, the custom spacer of correct thickness only covers the inner race of the bearing, leaving the outer race to rotate freely. This is perfect. And in case you're not sure, this is a massive design improvement for the version 4.0. And this is the last thing I'm going to point out about these. I have them both set up for laying leg curls with 2 plates, and we will be washing this front right foot. During use, the foot lifts off of the ground, and it's pretty severe on the version 2.0. On the version 4.0, it has been improved and is reduced, but it's still present. And that gets us through the upgrades. I will say that although this pull pin for the leg roller is a big upgrade, there is still room for improvement. Locking the foot pad here is not one size fits all. I'm 6 foot 1 inch tall, so on the taller side, and the foot pad lands right here at the top of my foot. This would not work well for someone with shorter legs. Eventually, I hope this design evolves to be able to lock it in different positions, such as here, here, and here. Or maybe something like this cam plate mounted at the end of the arm, then the foot pad could be locked in anywhere. And I know for a fact that LIONSCOOL appreciates this type of input and is committed to continuous design improvement and actually invests in upgrades and makes the changes. I personally like that about this company. I'm sure you will see newer versions rolled out. Regardless, I think the version 4.0 is an excellent machine for home gym use, and I would definitely recommend it. I purchased the version 2.0 6 months ago and have not had any regrets, and the version 4.0 is even better with several upgrades, and I'm thankful to have received it for free to test and review. I will definitely continue to regularly put it to work for personal use. As always, I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe for more how-to and review videos. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.